to order. Robert, will you please pray for us?
Bow your head, please. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for guiding us through this, Lord, and this unprecedented time, Lord. We know you're in control. We know your hands on it, Lord. But Lord, we're asking for your guidance tonight, Lord, in this meeting. And Lord, I ask you for guidance from for our mayor, Lord, giving vision and guidance, Lord, and direction in this. And Lord, for our governor and for our president and all the elected officials that have to make vital decisions, Lord. Lord, we pray for all the first responders and healthcare workers, and also, Lord, just keep them safe. Lord, we know you can end this thing, Lord, and we're asking you to do that in faith. Father, we just ask your blessings upon this meeting. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, we're going to do this meeting a little bit different. I'm going to ask Parker to call out the meeting. The way it has to be done, we have to have a roll call vote and everything. So it has to be done in a certain way. So I'm going to let Parker take over.
Yeah.
And take it from
Thanks, Mayor. Appreciate that. And so just for the record, since it is being recorded, we are obviously live in person in the board meeting room, but also on teleconference as well.
Joining the meeting.
Which is being recorded.
Barbara Adams.
Hey, Barbara, how are you?
I'm good.
We're right in the middle. And so we're recording the meeting, and it'll be posted online either tonight or tomorrow morning. So when we go through the items, we will need to vote, as Pat said, by individual aldermen. And so we'll say your name, and you just say yay or nay, and that way we can have a roll call vote on that. So, Pat, if you want to start with the consent agenda, which is the first item on the
item on the agenda is our consent agenda, items 1 through 9.
I make a motion that we approve as stated.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, Alderman Burns made the motion, and Alderman Black seconded the motion.
All in favor? Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Do we say our name?
Yeah.
Well, if y'all are going to be unanimous, I'll just make a note. We won't go down the list then.
Okay.
So,
I agree with it.
All right, motion carries.
all right, unanimous vote on that. Next
All
item.
right. Next, we have engineering service. We have 3 items for approval. We have proof summary change order for Hemp Hill Construction in the amount of $8,960 for the Highway 49 utility relocation project. Do we have a motion on that?
Alderman Black, make a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Kathy, wait seconds.
All in favor? Any discussion?
Alderman.
That is reimbursement.
That one we'll have to make sure that it's reimbursable. I'm not sure whether it is or not.
Utility.
Utility relocation.
It usually is, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether it is or not.
So for the record, Alderman Black made the motion, Alderman Nguyen seconded, and it was a unanimous vote on that item.
All right. Next, we have approved final pay request to Hemp Hill Construction in the amount of $28,345 for the Highway 49 utility relocation project. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
A motion by Burns. Do we have a second?
Second by Kathy.
Motion by Kathy. Any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Unanimous vote. Next, we have approved pay request number 4 to AHS Construction in the amount of $117,275.79 for the 2019 water meter replacement. Do we have a motion on that?
Kraft, move.
We have a motion by Kraft. Do we have a second?
Second, Alderman Black.
All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have consider extending the City of Richland's declaration of emergency related to COVID-19 pandemic adopted March 17, 2020. Do we have a motion? Sanford's motion. Do we have a second?
Kraft, second.
Kraft second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
It was also unanimous.
Next, we have consider amending the city COVID-19 control policy for employees dated March 17th, 2020 to accommodate emergency personnel and first responders with adequate PPE. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by Burns. Do we have a second?
Second by Kathy.
Second by Kathy Wynn. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Can we get some explanation on that?
Sure. Yeah, I'll be glad to. This is Attorney Berry. I'll be glad to mention what that is. So Karen called earlier today. I think Brandon, the fire chief, had asked, under the city's current control policy, there's a list required to self-quarantine if you come into certain type of contact or exposure, one of which is if you have been in contact or exposed to someone who has tested positive for COVID-19. And so the thought or the question from Brandon with emergency personnel and first responders, how does that apply to them if they have adequate PPE, which is personal protection equipment, I think is the acronym for that. And so that obviously is a good question, and certainly we don't want to exclude our first responders, your fire and police, because certainly they either have and or will come in contact with people in performance of their duties who test positive for COVID-19. If they are adequately protected, according to CDC guidelines, then we don't want to have them self-isolate or quarantine for 14 days. We need these people here and able to perform the emergency medical services that they do, and it provided that they are adequately protected. So that's all that is. It adds, it's on the second page of the control policy, which is in your packet. It's the bold underlined part on the second page. Yeah, it's okay. That's what's being added, just to clarify and update the policy. So, Mayor, you have a first and a second as you read into the record, and so you need to vote.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Next, we have approved the sale of the Fire Department 2007 Super Duty Ford F-250 Crew Cab. Let's see here, property number 4112 to be sold on Gov Deals, and the proceeds to be applied to the principal of the 2016 Pierce loan. Do we have a motion on that?
I make that motion.
Kathy Wynn made the motion. Do we have a second?
Alderman Black, second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. That was a unanimous vote. Next, we approve the transfer of the 1999 Chevrolet Z71, property number 1071, from the Fire Department to Parks and Rec. Do we have a motion?
Kraft motion.
Kraft motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second for Burns. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have approved the hire of Javon Taylor and Ricky Curry Jr., currently working with Water Department from temp staff effective April 8th, 2020 at a rate of $12.50 per hour. Do we have a motion?
Black motion.
Do we have a motion by Black? Do we have a second?
Sanford, second.
Second by Sanford. Any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, approve the annual payment to the Richland Creek Watershed District in an amount of $10,000. Do we have a motion?
Kraft.
Kraft made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Burns. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
For the record, all the motions and the votes were unanimous, just to be clear.
All votes were unanimous. That's correct.
I'll make the motion that we adjourn this meeting.
All right.
Black, second.
We are adjourned.
All right, the April 7th meeting is adjourned.